Setbacks feel like starting over, like all previous progress disappeared, like the work was wasted and the effort didn't count. One bad day after 10 good ones, and the focus goes entirely to the bad day. One mistake after weeks of discipline, and the mistake feels more significant than all the consistency that came before. One step backward erases the memory of multiple steps forward. That's the mental trap, treating backward steps as complete failure instead of temporary deviation, as proof that progress isn't real instead of proof that progress is difficult. But here's the reality. Backward steps don't delete forward movement. The progress already made still exists. The ground already covered doesn't disappear. The work already done still counts. Missing one workout doesn't erase a month of training. One poor food choice doesn't undo weeks of discipline. One unproductive day doesn't negate weeks of focused work. The backward step is just one step, not a complete reversal. Most people quit after backward steps because they view them as complete failure. They were making progress, had a setback, and decided the setback means they're back at zero. So they actually go back to zero by quitting entirely. The setback didn't put them at zero. Their response to the setback did. Progress with setbacks still moves forward over time. The trajectory might not be straight, but the overall direction is advancement. 3 steps forward and 1 step back is still net positive. 5 forward and 2 back still creates distance from the starting point. But quitting after the backward step guarantees zero progress. It takes a temporary setback and makes it permanent. It transforms a single step in the wrong direction into complete abandonment of the right direction. The key is continuing after the setback, not pretending it didn't happen, not beating yourself up over it happening, just continuing, getting back to forward movement as quickly as possible. Because the backward step only matters if it becomes the new direction. If it's just a momentary deviation before resuming forward progress, it's irrelevant in the bigger picture. Think about any long journey. Wrong turns happen, detours occur, backtracking is sometimes necessary, but those don't make the journey a failure. They're just part of getting to the destination. The same applies here. Setbacks are part of the process. Backward steps happen to everyone. The difference between those who reach their goals and those who don't isn't the presence or absence of setbacks. It's the response. One group sees a setback and quits. The other sees a setback and continues. Same setback, different outcomes. Because one group let the backward step define the journey, while the other group kept it as a single step among many. So when backward steps happen, and they will, the question isn't, did I mess up? The question is, what's the next step? Because the next step determines direction, and direction over time determines destination. One backward step followed by forward movement is still forward progress. One backward step followed by quitting is just quitting with extra steps. Bad habits don't disappear just because good habits start. They resist. They persist. They wait for moments of weakness to re-emerge. Because bad habits are established, they've been reinforced for months or years. They're automatic, comfortable, the default response to stress, boredom, or temptation. They have deep roots. Good habits are new, unfamiliar, requiring conscious effort, uncomfortable, the opposite of default. They're seedlings trying to grow where weeds have lived for years. And expecting the seedling To immediately choke out the weeds is unrealistic. That's not how this works. The weeds are stronger, more established, better adapted to the environment. They don't surrender just because something new showed up. Replacing bad habits with good ones is a slow process of making the new habit stronger than the old one. Not overnight, not in a week, over extended periods of repetition that eventually makes the good habit the automatic choice. But most people give up during that transition period, when the bad habit still feels more natural than the good one, when the old pattern still pulls harder than the new one, when doing the right thing still requires effort while doing the wrong thing feels effortless. That discomfort is the replacement process. The struggle between established patterns and new ones, between what's familiar and what's beneficial, between the path of least resistance and the path of most growth. And in that struggle, consistency matters more than intensity. Doing the good habit imperfectly, but regularly, beats doing it perfectly, but sporadically. Because consistency builds the pattern, makes it automatic, strengthens the new pathway until it becomes the default. The bad habit didn't become automatic in a day. It took repetition. The good habit needs the same: repetition, time, consistency, until it's no longer a conscious choice, but an automatic response. But here's where most people fail. They're consistent for a few weeks, then slip back into the bad habit, and they treat that slip as total failure, as proof the good habit won't stick, as permission to abandon the attempt. But the slip isn't failure, it's just the old habit flexing its remaining strength, reminding that it still exists, testing whether the commitment to the new habit is real or temporary. The response to that slip determines everything. Giving up confirms the bad habit's dominance. Continuing anyway weakens it. Every time the good habit gets chosen despite temptation, the bad habit loses power. Every time consistency resumes after a slip, the new pattern gets stronger. This process takes time, longer than most people want to invest. But the timeline isn't negotiable. Deep patterns take time to replace. Established habits take time to overcome. New behaviors take time to become automatic. There's no shortcut, no hack, no way to force the process to speed up. Just consistent repetition over whatever time period is actually required for the new pattern to override the old one. And that time period varies. Some habits replace quickly, some take months, some take years. But all of them take longer than expected. All of them require more consistency than feels necessary. The only way through is through, choosing the good habits repeatedly, slipping occasionally, continuing anyway, building the new pattern stronger than the old one through sheer repetition until the replacement is complete. The mind creates both prisons and palaces. It's the most dangerous place to spend time, and also the most powerful. The difference is what gets built there. Most people let their thoughts run wild, unchecked, undirected, reactive. Whatever pops up gets accepted as truth. Whatever fear surfaces gets treated as prophecy. Whatever doubt appears gets reinforced through repetition. And over time, those unchecked thoughts build a mental environment that either supports growth or prevents it, that either generates courage or manufactures fear, that either creates possibilities or constructs limitations. The same mind that can spiral into anxiety can also build unshakable confidence. The same thoughts that can paralyze with fear can also fuel massive action. The same internal voice that can destroy motivation can also generate relentless drive. It's the same tool, just being used differently, being shaped differently, being directed differently. But most people don't actively shape their thoughts. They just experience whatever the mind produces and accept it as reality. The mind says something is impossible, and that becomes the belief. The mind generates fear, and that becomes the emotion. The mind creates doubt, and that becomes the barrier. Passive thinking creates reactive living. Whatever the mind produces determines what action gets taken. Whatever thoughts dominate determine what results get created. And since unchecked thoughts tend toward negativity, unchecked results tend toward mediocrity. Because the brain's default setting is threat detection. It's designed to find problems, predict dangers, prepare for worst-case scenarios. That is what kept humans alive when physical threats were constant. But in modern life, it just creates mental torture. The mind will find reasons not to try, evidence that goals are unrealistic, proof that success is unlikely, memories of past failures, predictions of future embarrassment, all automatically, all constantly, unless directed otherwise. That direction is the work, actively shaping thoughts instead of passively experiencing them, catching negative spirals before they build momentum, questioning fearful predictions before accepting them as fact, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. This isn't toxic positivity. It's not pretending everything's perfect or denying real challenges. It's refusing to let the mind create additional obstacles beyond what actually exists. Reality provides enough real challenges. The mind doesn't need to manufacture extra ones, doesn't need to catastrophize possible outcomes. The mind is like a garden. Left unattended, weeds take over. Maintained consistently, it produces exactly what gets planted. But maintenance is daily. The weeds don't stop growing just because they were pulled yesterday. New ones appear. Existing ones return. Constant attention is required. Most people maintain their physical environment more than their mental one. They organize their space, clean their home, manage their schedule, but let their mind run completely wild, accepting whatever thoughts appear without question, without filter, without intention, and then wonder why the mental state is chaotic, why motivation is unreliable, why confidence is fragile, why progress feels impossible. The mental environment determines all of that. Shaping thoughts isn't about perfection, it's about direction. The mind will still produce negative thoughts, still generate doubt, still create fears. That's natural, that's expected. That's how minds work. But those thoughts don't need to become beliefs, don't need to drive decisions, don't need to determine outcomes. They can be acknowledged and dismissed, noticed and redirected, experienced without being obeyed. That's the power, not controlling every thought, but choosing which thoughts get reinforced and which get rejected, which narratives get repeated and which get replaced, which mental patterns get strengthened and which get weakened. Over time, that choice shapes the entire mental landscape, determines whether the mind becomes a dangerous place that generates obstacles or a powerful place that generates solutions. Same mind, different environment, different results. Progress includes backward steps. That's not failure. That's just the reality of moving forward. The setbacks don't erase the progress unless they become reasons to quit. Otherwise, they're just temporary deviations in an overall forward trajectory. Bad habits don't disappear overnight. They resist replacement. They persist through the discomfort of change. Good habits need time and consistency to become strong enough to override patterns that have years of reinforcement. That process is slow, uncomfortable, tested repeatedly, but it works when given enough time. The mind creates the environment that everything else operates within. Left unchecked, it builds prisons. Actively shaped, it builds platforms for growth. Same mind, just being directed differently. Thoughts can be the most dangerous obstacles or the most powerful tools, depending on whether they're managed or just experienced. All three of these connect. Backward steps trigger negative thoughts. Negative thoughts justify abandoning new habits. Abandoning new habits guarantees more backward steps. It's a cycle that keeps people stuck. Breaking that cycle requires understanding that setbacks are temporary. Habit replacement takes time, and thoughts need active management. Forward progress with occasional backward steps still moves forward. Consistent good habits eventually override inconsistent bad ones. Shaped thoughts create mental environments that support growth instead of preventing it. None of this is instant. All of it requires sustained effort. But sustained effort in the right direction eventually creates transformation. Not perfect effort, not flawless execution, just consistent movement forward despite setbacks. Commitment to building better habits despite resistance, and intentional shaping of thoughts despite default negativity. That's accessible to anyone. Not easy, but accessible. Keep moving forward after backward steps. Keep choosing good habits over bad ones. Keep shaping thoughts toward empowerment instead of limitation. The backward steps will happen. The bad habits will resist. The negative thoughts will appear. All of that is guaranteed. The only question is what happens next. Continue or quit. Persist or surrender. Shape or accept. Those choices determine everything. Not talent, not circumstances, not advantages, just the daily decisions about direction, habits, and thoughts. Make those decisions correctly enough times, and the trajectory changes. The habits replace, the mind shifts, and what seemed impossible becomes inevitable. If you watched to the end, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what message stood out to you in this video.